Well, explaining COVID-19 to children can be a challenging and daunting task, and after noticing the anxiety and confusion among children in her school, author Alison Bard-Miller came up with a unique and encouraging way to explain the pandemic to the children.
Alison joins us now this morning via Skype to tell us more about her new book, The Naughty Little Germ. Alison, where and why did you come up with this idea from, The Naughty Little Germ?
Yeah, so just from engaging with parents of the students I teach, I was aware that quite a number of kids were suffering from fear and anxiety and were quite scared, being locked away. And I was thinking, I'm not a parent myself, but if I was, how would I explain what's going on? There's this huge dark cloud hovering over the world at the moment. So I thought, with all this time on my hands and my stage school being closed down, I said, look, what can I do? So I said, I'll write this. So I was engaging with many different illustrators across the world. And the idea of the naughty little germ came from me at the start when I did get to have a few classes at the very, very beginning of the lockdown. Before we were in full lockdown, it was poetry and songs I was writing with this idea of the naughty little germ. And then I said, I need to put this visually. So, if I had kids, how I'd like to show them. So it was written and designed really as a tool and as a guide for parents to help showing, because I was thinking, how are people going to even explain, especially to smallies? I teach 3 to 18-year-olds, but I've a lot of 3 to 5-year-olds, and I was thinking, how will they even digest what's going on? So that's where the naughty little germ came about.
It's a really clever, really good idea, because I know from my point of view, my daughter's 3 and she's obsessed with washing her hands now because of the germs. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she starts coming out with the coronavirus. So she's obviously, it's something, the anxieties, there's so much talk about it at the moment. So to have it kind of in a simple illustration, a fun book like that is really clever.
Yeah, so it's educational and informative. Obviously, I had to be very careful, so there's age-appropriate language, and it's an engaging tale about this very bold, naughty little germ, COVID, who presents himself on planet Earth, and he has this game, and he likes to tickle people's noses and throats until they cough, and little does he realise that he's making people very sick. So he thinks he's very funny, while he's not. The children then realise what's going on, and they say, OK, we'll play our own game. So we'll play a big game of hide and seek, and we'll stay inside, and we'll look after our families and be nice and be good for our mum and dad at home. And we played the biggest game of hide and seek. It was a year long, in fact. So COVID was going around looking for the people to tickle their noses and throats. And then when he realised, well, there's nobody for me to tickle, he gets very bored, and then he leaves, and he leaves planet Earth, and then the children slowly come outside. So the main part, if I was to take any part of the story, I'd zoomed to the end, because I'm a very positive person myself. I like to think positively as much as I possibly can, and at the end it's showing a very positive outlook on a post-COVID world. So that's my favourite part, is really for these small children in particular who can't understand and fathom what's going on. It's to show them how clean the world is going to be, and how loving people will be, we hope, and how kind everyone will be after this, again, this dark cloud, as I like to say, is what it is. So without talking about the disease and being scientific about it, it's more about it has hidden message about disease transmission, but it's not talking about COVID the way we hear every day in the news as adults. So it's a different read, and again, it's a children's book, but there's so many parents who've said this is so strange to read this, because it's actually quite light, and again, while it's a negative concept, it's a positive vibe.
And you address things like social distancing, because it's so weird hearing my 5-year-old say social distancing, and I know it's one thing that he really struggled with when he was allowed to see grandparents, and obviously that's not allowed anymore. But do you address that? And it seems so cruel. You're almost praising a child for not being affectionate to their grandparents. Is that something that comes up within the book?
I noticed that as well, Karen, in my studio again, when I was allowed to teach at the very start. There were children coming in saying, oh, Miss Ali, she's too close to me. And and he's too close. And I was going, you know, as much as I was the teacher in the room, I was going, this is really, it's quite emotional and it's quite scary, especially for the little ones and with their masks and that. So yeah, I cover everything, and again in an age appropriate language. And I did want to write a tale. It is a story that I want kids to follow. It's not just bullet pointed COVID information. It's a tale about this little germ, and from start to finish, it engages the reader and allows the children to see the positive end at the end, and that the end is in sight. It was actually one particular young boy. I heard from his mother, a little boy that I teach, and he was an older child, and he suffers from severe anxiety. Never did really had so much confidence within stage school. So many kids come to the stage school obviously because it's their passion, and this little boy felt he couldn't even go outside. And I said, well, what if we write this and we draw it, and at the end we show how wonderful the world will be, and there's something to look forward to. So again, that's the positive outlook on the post-COVID world that I was going for.
That new normal, I think you mentioned as well, in it. Who knows what that's going to look like, but hopefully it is going to be clean and people being kind, and we can all look forward to it again. Can you tell me about your business? How you've got your own stage school, you're obviously closed at the minute. How difficult has that been?
Yeah, it's been a year. Look, everyone has suffered and has had trouble in their own ways. I'm living alone at home. I actually had the naughty little germ in my home, and so that was tough. But you know, having the book and having a project, I'd be quite an active person. So, you know, I've missed the kids so much. They're a huge part of my life. I can't wait to reconnect with them. And the naughty little germ has been a way that I can communicate with my children. It's actually, sorry, I have to mention, four of my little ones were on the toy show with Ryan at Christmas time, and I got to meet them in person. I was super lucky. I had a social distance, of course, in RTE, and I had at that point 4 illustrators that I wasn't sure who I was going to be going with, and I said, well, what if I just show the character to the children? So I showed the character to 4 of the kids, and they immediately said that's the germ, because he's naughty but he's funny as well, and he's not so scary, Miss Ali. So I said, okay. So that I actually had the help of the kids picking COVID, the main character. So that was awesome. But look, it's, yeah, as I said, it's been a tough year, but it has been for everybody, you know, and we just have to count our blessings at the end of the day. You know, I have my health, and I luckily, you know, the coronavirus, I manage it at home here with my positive mental attitude, and I just hope everyone else is doing well, in particular all of my parents and my students.
And actually, Alison, I'd say the work you do in your stage school, along with obviously the book, it's going to be instrumental in kids actually processing this, and everything they've been through, drama, and what you do within your school is probably going to be just so helpful and so needed in terms of them just getting their heads around the last year.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially getting back to getting fit. You know, a few kids, dancing is their sport, and being active is so important. You know, I got into yoga myself at home here, and that was a great way to keep moving. I ran as well, but for the children, dancing is their niche, and a lot of them miss it so much, you know, but I keep telling them, look, you know, very soon we'll be back. And
absolutely.
Alison,
thank you.
Yeah, and your positive mental attitude as well. Keep up the great work. Well done.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We shall take a quick break now. See you after this.